there.
How's everybody doing?
Hey, Tess.
Good. I hope you can hear me well. Just want to make sure.
You're great.
And I can see. Okay, perfect. Thank you all so much. I'm sorry. I was speaking on a panel for the state of Black tourism. And
you were going to be even later. You came earlier.
I hopped off the panel a little early. I let them know I had.
Oh, well, we appreciate you being here. If you need anything, I'm here, but I'm just here to help you.
Okay.
Are you speaking about digital toolkit for speakers?
I am.
That is amazing.
I am. Well, I'm not. Remember, I'm leading the round table. That's right. Leading the round table. So you're my helper, Jennifer. I'm so excited. I loved what you did yesterday.
I thought we've had good discussions today. The other one, it seems like the same group of us is kind of coming into this one.
Oh, really? Oh,
Ernie,
I hope that's a good thing.
Oh,
look at Ernie.
Nice.
Ernie, you are so top of the line. I love it.
I like that.
I wish I were like that every day, though. It's not quite.
Let me see what I'm going to do. If I can do this.
Yeah, I'll put my favorite background since it's what keeps me going every day.
And because Jennifer, the only thing I didn't ask
football
was
all about football.
Are we recording? That's the only
thing. It is already recording.
Remember. Okay, no problem.
You need to tag the live transcripts. You need to
enable. Yeah, there we go.
Enable it.
I know, I'm just your pain. I'm reminding you of all these.
You're great. Helpful.
Okay.
And I will be a timekeeper also. We'll be ending at 2:25.
Which is 11:25. Okay.
2:25 Eastern. That's right.
So I will also be doing my let's see. Is that better audio for you all than I was, or should I go back?
No, that's actually really good.
Okay, perfect.
Just so you know, if you see me going kind of off camera, it's because I'm doing tech support for another conference at the same time. So.
That sounds like me.
We have multiple computers.
That's what sounds like something I was doing. Yeah. I was on stage for the state of Black tourism, and then I was sitting in to Liz. I think I'm gonna talk about this topic. That's great.
Yeah, 18 months ago we couldn't do two events in like a 5-minute period. Now we can.
Yeah, we can do all kinds of things now, right?
I have a question for you or for anybody. We're doing entertainment next week for a conference. They're called the Peace Poets. I guess they're very rap and kind of controversial, and they want to show some of their YouTube stuff, but I'm concerned we get shut down if we're live streaming it because it's copyrighted. How have other people handled that?
All right. Well, you always can buy money talks, so you can always buy permissions for everything and anything.
It's their content, their own content?
Yeah, their content. Yeah.
Oh, it's their content, not somebody else.
Saying it's going to get
flagged. It's their content, but in the past, sometimes we've been shut down. By YouTube. When we did Norah Jones, we did a live concert. They shut us down.
You have to quote unquote register per se, or say that you're doing X. You need to inform them.
How do I do that? Any start?
Through. I haven't been on the platform in a minute in that way, but from the producer's perspective, like in the studio area, let's just say, there, as you are uploading content, you're producing content, there lack of better word, settings or approvals or different things, and it'll say, is it going to be this? Is it going to be common? There are a litany of variables of language that they use to categorize the content that will be pushed. So you need to do that. You need to do that ahead of time.
Right, I figured that it's next Tuesday, so.
Yeah, so today. And then there should be FAQs around it within their FAQ area. And then Google doesn't do a whole lot of support, as everyone knows, but there may be more support around live instances now. But it's been a minute since I've been in there in terms of, because they move stuff around a lot. But definitely look at that, Sharon.
Yeah, I'm going to do a test event on Monday just to see it works. So thanks for the advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And then the same goes for when you're posting, like post content. Like if you were just posting the video or uploading the video, same thing. Same types of things where you'll categorize the content, if it's kid friendly, if it's this, if it's that, if it's that. But definitely there should be a space in there where you can talk about this is original content that you're producing. And it's your content. And then this is the type of, this is the category that the content falls under.
Okay. That's why I use Vimeo for certain stuff. So, because it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, Vimeo is cleaner.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
back to you. I just figured I'd throw that out.
No worries. Oh, it's 11 already. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Jennifer, let's do it.
Woohoo, go for it. We are so excited to have you leading this roundtable. You can just go ahead and I will tell you when we're out of time.
Okay. We can do it like John's here. Peggy's here. Oh, I'm excited. This is exciting. Okay. So my name is Tess Vismel. Thank you and welcome to my roundtable. So those of you who don't know me, I just kind of consider myself an event technologist and a tech whisperer, and that's about it. And I try to help and empower my fellow event profs around things that they can do better to streamline their processes and most importantly, feel comfortable with it. That's kind of what I do in a nutshell. But this is not about me, and what I do is not necessarily about me. It's for the greater good of our industry. So Liz is near and dear to my heart, and when she created this format for the roundtable, I was so very excited about it. First of all, she's always innovative and likes to do things differently, which hopefully some of my fellow event profs will adapt for some of their events in the future. It's less taxing on the speakers as well, and gives us an opportunity to be more spontaneous and co-create in the process. So what I decided to do, full disclosure, is instead of me saying, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, or I need to talk about hybrid because I'm tired of talking about hybrid, or I need to talk about this, I need to talk about that. I said, oh, nope, I have this fabulous group of event profs who I'm on a squad called the D Plus Squad, which is a Dahlia Plus Squad. Those of you who know Dahlia, who was in her session yesterday, know her. And I put it out to them and said, oh, guys, what do you all want to talk about, right? And my dear friend, Peggy, she came up with this fabulous idea. And she kind of started talking about, why don't you talk about speakers, Tess? And you can come off mute, Peggy. Yeah, why don't you talk about speakers and digital tools? I said, this is cool. This is really right, not necessarily right up my alley, it is, but I want to pose questions out to you all so that we can have a dialogue around what speakers need, should have, shouldn't have, what we can put together. And hopefully out of this, we have a few points because of course we're live scribe, right? We're transcription. So we'll be able to have some tangible information around what we want to design the experiences for speakers to have, how we should better prepare them for digital engagement. And the reason why I call it digital engagement and not virtual engagement is because it's a digital environment. I don't really care how it comes across for people. But if you don't know me, you'll know my concept around what is the future of events is we do events, and however those events need to happen, they're going to happen, whether it's face-to-face and digital experience. Hopefully it's not one or the other. Hopefully it's more of a percentage. So this topic is going to reign true for the rest of our lives, period. Because somebody's always going to have something. It could be a oops. And you booked me, you paid me, and I need to come digitally. At the last minute, the same day, something might have happened, or I'm just not physically able to do that. So I need to be inclusive in how I lay out the speakers. So enough of me. I'd love to, thanks for posting in the chat. Continue to say who you are and what you think about a digital toolkit, please. But I want to pose the question out. I want it to be more dialogue, not me teaching you or me saying, but those are my general thoughts on things. Number one, we need to prepare our speakers better for the things that they're getting into, and not necessarily my lighting is great. That's nice and all, but by the time we get to what the lighting looks like, there's a whole bunch of things that they probably need to know and feel more comfortable around. And how come we need to have a tech check for 15 minutes? And I don't necessarily think that that's enough. So who'd like to go first and have a conversation about what they think should go? A, do you think we need one? But B, if so, what should go into that digital
If anybody
toolkit?
wants to just raise your hand, I'll start calling.
Just go for it.
All right. You can physically raise your hand or click the raise your hand button.
Francis with a pretty smile.
Oh, well, thank you, Tess. This is something that was very top of mind. I mean, I previously left a company after 10 years, but after last year, there were so many speakers who I felt clients were not preparing their speakers properly for doing virtual events. There are some people who are great in an audience, but they are not good on camera. There are some people who I would watch an event and go, why did they tell them to wear a patterned shirt? Like, that's just not good for camera, for sitting down. Or you have the ones who just, go like this and they don't know how to set up their own camera. So I remember talking to a few vendors who were in the industry, and they said that they were actually, when they were booking events, they had like a document or even a short video of the do's and don'ts of being on camera virtually. Make sure you're in a good position. Make sure your internet is good. We had a doctor, I think, drop because his grandchild was using the Wi-Fi to watch a video. So like having some kind of documentation, or like I said, a short video of here are the do's and don'ts of if you're going to be coming in virtually. I think something like that is really important, because there's a lot of people and clients who just don't understand that. Like, make sure your internet's good, make sure you have a reliable connection, make sure, like you said, test lighting, make sure you're in a good place that's very well lit, camera placement, angles, make sure you test in what angle works for you. So I think that is extremely important, especially as more and more people are presenting virtually.
Perfect. Okay, so who's next? I saw one other hand, and then I see one person I'm going to put on a hot seat. Everyone who knows me knows I put everyone on a hot seat all the time.
George's hand is raised.
Yeah, please.
Hello. So I think of this in two different formats because.
So George, you need to tell us who you are first, so that we all know, and then.
Sure thing. I'm George Kahn, founder of Brain Freeze Networks, and I've kind of danced around the tech and events industries my entire life. And thanks to COVID for forcing me to merge it together. At one job that I had, to them, a digital toolkit meant marketing. They provided the speakers with all sorts of Twitter and LinkedIn images so that they could post. They gave them like click to post links so that they were advertising the event for them. They had all sorts of like codes and promo codes that they could send out. It was all about marketing the event. Now, that is completely different from a client that I'm currently working with, where the very first fully digital conference that they did at the start of COVID, they mailed everyone laptops. They sent laptops and lighting to every single speaker. I had to track the return of those laptops, and let me tell you, getting FedEx across like 80 or like 100 different speakers to like have that sent back on time. What a nightmare. But I will say, it was super easy to tell every speaker exactly what they needed to do, exactly how to set it up, because it was uniform across all platforms. There's no way to like, oh, are you on a Mac? Wait, you're using your iPad? We didn't have to deal with that because it was the same PC, it was the same setup. We don't do that anymore. But now there is like simple PDF, run down the checklist, just sit next to your router, plug it in if you need to, kick your kids off the video games, whatever it is. But there is a complete thing. And I think there's a lot to be said about using existing YouTube videos. Just if you don't have the time to set up like all the this is how you do it, there's a lot of videos out there now, a lot of content about here's how you look good on a webcam, and just sending them that. They're content creators that do this much better than I. So yeah, I think of this in like two different formats, but would love to hear how else other people are doing it.
Thank you so much, George, for sharing. Everything that you said is right on point. And there are a couple, I'm going to find, there's a company that just focuses on sending out those kits for you as speakers that help alleviate that piece for you. So at least we know. And I want people to share also in the chat resources, because this needs to be not a round table where we're giving each other. So give resources either verbally or in the chat around sources that you may have. Another person who raised their hand, Lisa, I think she was next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Swartz. I'm the owner of Meeting Services Outsource Specialist and Meeting Planner. And I just wanted to sort of tack on or question from Francis and George. A lot of the speakers that I'm engaging for any events that I'm doing, hybrid or live, are healthcare providers and doctors. And are you finding, I mean, they're not professional speakers. They speak professionally, but they're not professional speakers. And do you find one of the challenges that I've found, and I'm shocked especially because of the need, is that even though I've sent them, checklists and George, I haven't gone so far as to actually mail out a laptop. I almost died when you said that. I would not want to be responsible for that. But the point is that it's hard enough just to get them to get on a call. Never mind, we try to do like a pre-call, like a run through. And sometimes you can't even get them on that. And so, day of, they come on and it just seems very, there are a lot of issues with the speakers. And I just wanted to know how you compensate for that. Do they actually follow the PDF? I can't even imagine sending them to a YouTube to actually watch them. So the question is, how do you get compliance besides the fact that, I know they're paid, and this is their responsibility, but it's not their comfort level, and it's also not in their schedule sometimes. So I'm just curious about that compliance.
Okay, so Lisa, a couple of things. I'm check queen. I love tech checks. Absolutely do it, and people think I'm crazy, but it requires people who do very good tech checks are usually people who are in the middle. So it's not always just the AV person who's doing the tech check, and it's not just the people who are on the events team who does the tech checks. It should be someone who can kind of see both worlds, because they need to be able to take the time with the person, and the person needs to feel comfortable around what they're doing, not just checking boxes. And now that everyone has been quote unquote level set and the playing field has been leveled around technology, in a sense that we all have to participate, right? If you don't take the time, like I said, 15-minute tech checks, they're possible, right? But they're not necessarily possible with everything. So you're going to have to reinforce behavior, just like Pavlov's dog, right? You need to reinforce that behavior. And you need to plan for that. And you need to have a team person in place who just handles that aspect, not someone who's doing other things, who just makes sure that your speakers are done and taken care of very, very well. That's mine. And I'd like someone else to jump in with that. Anyone else want to kind of give Lisa some comments as it relates to it? I know there are a few in the chat. Anyone? Otto from Otto? Yes. Yes.
Hi, this is Hanna.
Hey, Hanna.
I'm an event planner and producer. My agency's name is called Irresistible Marketing Lab. I do deal with speakers too, and I just did 2 check-ins for 2 events 2 weeks ago. So what Tess is saying is true. What I would we had speakers come in and they were a disaster. I had to produce them and calm down, check this out, we got this, do this, do that. I was moderator while she was doing the talk. But glad that she listened, right? And she didn't feel offended. But what I would recommend is make it a requirement. If speakers are not coming to the tech check, they cannot participate as speakers. I'm sorry, but it has to be a requirement. I don't care how harsh it sounds, but seriously, it's really bad for the attendees, and we gotta have an experience that's good for everybody, hosts and speakers included, not just the attendees. And if they're not, they're gonna feel bad that they look bad on camera. They're going to actually have regret after when they see it and see that it's poorly created. So it's in their best interest to show up to the tech checks. I would force them, Liz, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely needs attention. Does anyone else have something. Yeah, George says doctors are hard. At the end of the day, it's about what's in it for them, why they're there, why they're participating. If possible, it needs to be part of the agreement. And another thing that you deal with are speakers who think they got it all and they understand it and they know it. I got it. I don't need to come.
Exactly.
Right. And how do you, and it's got to be, yeah. It has to be accountability with that, Anna. So we have to take a different kind of approach, maybe a little bit more hand holding, but it does, I think, require you to either hire a production team and have someone can focus on that, have someone in-house who can also focus on that as well. So Vital, introduce yourself. You wanted to say something?
Sure, I did. My name is Vital Fusilier. I have a company called JBV Production. And two things, with regard to the speakers, one of the things that we need to always have is an asset collection list of book titles, links, study titles and links. Because I'm big on my production team, I always have an engagement manager in the chat side so that the presenter doesn't have to stop and then type in a link, that the presenter can continue presenting. When somebody goes, what's the book he just mentioned? Boom,
Yep.
It's there.
Yes.
What's the study he's referencing? Boom, it's there. And we do that. And so, I try to keep an engagement manager with an asset list. And so one of the things I do with speakers, I always have them send me your reference points from your speech so that we know we can do that and create that, because people will go to the links if they see them and they post them and they can just copy them straight out of the chat.
Yes, absolutely.
The other thing that I always do is I always have someone in 2 locations and make both of them the administrator of the larger source for the presentation. So if somebody's Wi-Fi or something goes down wherever they're sitting, somebody else can keep the meeting moving, and that they have a set of assets. One thing I've got big on is just generating a "we will be right back" slide. Because you never know when you got to pop that up for 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And it's usually not a long time, but it's that 40 seconds where you lose 100 people if you're not careful.
Yeah, definitely. So I call, it's a service that I provide as well as a virtual event concierge. And that's just that person who is the go-between and takes that and looks at the, the landscape of the event and focuses on those things. So Peggy, yes, ma'am.
Good. First of all, I believe a lot of folks here are involved in tech and they're providers. I just want to let you know I'm coming from strictly an event planner aspect, and fell into speaker management almost every company I was with. So somebody was going to say something? Nope. So this topic is near and dear to my heart, and I believe that we've already talked about a tech checklist, that sort of thing. So there's 2 kinds of things that your speakers need to be educated on, and I'm not speaking of speakers involved in like a Liz Caruso presentation. Let's just put on your hat like you are in charge of speakers for your medical convention or whatever. So they all need a tech checklist. And here's where something you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Your tech provider can put that together for you. Also, easily half as important as that, equally as important, is you need to show them what is good. What is an example of a good speaker that they can emulate? And we just had one. We had Justin, the shark presenter. I thought he was fantastic. When I worked for a medical community, our best speaker, consistently highest rated, he actually gave a course for all the oral surgeons in the area on how to improve their presentations. So it was they learned from a peer, and it was not as, it really struck them where they lived. And Andrea made a good comment in the chat about doctors having God complexes. And I'll tell you, that's a hard group to turn around, because they all think, oh, you know what? My colleagues don't need all this smiles and color and stuff. All they need is that the research data, PowerPoint, yellow on blue. That's all they need. And you know what? They forget about humanity. The people in their audience are humans. I guess my whole career I've been led by, you don't know what you don't know. So if you can show them what they don't know, and actually you could have your tech company research your field, find examples of good presentation and have them put that together for you and send it to your presentation. So thanks.
Oh, thank you, Peggy. You are the forerunner in this conversation and dialogue. Before I go on to Victoria, I want to step just back a little bit to Sharon's comment. And she talked about that I think it was Sharon who mentioned that Socio had a templated document. Am I not correct about that? Was that you, Sharon? Yes. So Sharon, would you share that? If you can share that with us in some form or fashion, if you can, that's okay. But again, those of you who are just coming in, this is a place, a roundtable of everyone's voice counts, and we want to share the resources, not just talk about them. So if anyone can drop them in the chat, please do. Victoria, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, my question was for everybody about communication. What means of communication are you providing backstage? Some platforms actually have a backstage room, but Zoom and things like that don't. So what are your best practices for communicating with speakers during the event and maybe for your post as well?
Okay. So I can answer this a little bit, but I want to call on someone and they will be real mad with me, but it's okay. So Joe, could you please come off mute for me? And I want you to tell people what you do, a little bit of how you do what you do, but from your point of view, which is a little different than others in this room. What have you seen as been the best way when you produce the communication with speakers? If you can. I hope you can. I did put them on the spot.
I'm driving right now, but I'll try. It depends on the platform that you're using and the tools that are already.
Don't forget to tell them what you do.
Oh, yep, sorry. So I actually managed, prior to COVID, hybrid events and live streams. So we quickly transitioned to virtual events, obviously, but Tessa and I worked on an event for last summer, I guess, last October, maybe. And so I do a lot of cloud production where we may have 8 or 10 machines running in the cloud to send different messaging to different subgroups or parties. But it really depends on your platform. Normally in a larger event, you'll take a primary Zoom room, for instance, and send your speakers into various breakout rooms and then grab their feeds and reconnect them and shift them back and forth to each other so that they can see each other, as well as a return feed of themselves and a countdown timer or any other information that you need to provide them while they're on stage. Prior to being on stage, since you have them each in breakout rooms, you can do a final tech check. You can do, talk to them about what's about to happen. You can actually send the feed in to their room a few minutes before they get on stage so that they can hear the wrap up of the last presentation so that things actually seem smoother and like they're all in the same room together, which is really valuable, so that they just kind of dovetail one off of the other. But most importantly, for really large events, what you want to do is you want to have a separate system. I use one that's it's called Unity, and so it's based off of your phone. You would have them download an app for Unity, and then with Unity, they would have one earphone, headphone, whatever, in one ear, and then they would have the headphone for your service in the other ear, what Zoom or whatever you're using. That way you can actually talk to them just like an IFB on a studio set or whatever. So that's the short version.
Yep. So, and the reason why I asked Joe to, thank you, Joe. Thank you. So the reason why I asked Joe to answer is so that we would have a different point of view from a tech who utilizes the virtual world itself in producing, which is a completely, totally different point of view than some of the others that we generally talk about. Of course, you could have your green room. You could create a totally separate breakout room that is a green room within Zoom, and it's a room that just stays there. You can move people out. If you're using StreamYard, you can create a own green room in StreamYard and give them another link and go in and produce from. There are all different types of ways you can do it depending on your platform. But I would probably say the best thing that you need to do, I don't care whether you're doing low tech or high tech, make it in the forefront and a priority that someone is managing that process for you. I don't care how you do it, how much money you have or don't have, make it a focus. So DJ, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. So glad you came and participated in the chat. How can we help you and what would you like to contribute? Because DJ is coming from the entertainment world and he is a DJ and actually is building community. So say a little bit about what you said, yourself, and then go ahead and share.
Thank you so much, Tess. So I'm coming, like you said, from kind of on both sides, right? So I'm a DJ and an event host, but at the same time, clients pull us in for somewhat of production tasks. Sometimes they're saying, we'd like you to help us handle this tech because you do it well, or host this panel, bring the people in and talk. But the last question is right up my alley because I'm looking for the best possible solution for that communication behind the scenes. And so I'm sorry, I forgot the name of, I think was it Joe who just spoke?
Yeah, it was Joe.
Right. So for me, I'm DJing, I have headphones on to hear the music. I couldn't see somebody talking in one ear while I had music going and I'm mixing in the other ear. But I was wondering, has anybody used tech solutions to have that conversation happen? We've used a Slack channel. So I generally have another laptop right next to me where Slack is there and my clients might talk to me via Slack. But has anyone found any sort of other solution that's not, audio based to be able to communicate to the speakers? I will say that I did have an event where it was on Zoom and I was in a Zoom green room, but I think the client didn't realize that I could hear, even though the guests who were hearing the live stream couldn't hear what she was saying, people were talking in the room. And so that's coming into me and coming out of my speakers. And I'm trying to have to act like I don't hear it while and keep performing. So has anyone found a great solution for that in any other ways?
Okay. So I know that we only have 4 minutes left. I apologize. We need to tell Liz, we need to talk about this more and how. Thanks, Peggy, for blowing the lid off of it. So before we answer that, Joe, I know Joe can answer that. Anyone else can definitely post in the chat. But one thing I really want everyone to do, since we have 4 minutes left, can you take a moment and plop in your LinkedIn profile into the chat so everyone can have it? And it'll be a part of the transcript here. Joe, I have yours. I know you said that you were driving, so I'm posted yours in there for everyone because I want everyone to connect because this is all about us building community within ourselves as event profs. So has anyone else dealt with a situation where they can separate audio communication besides Unity? Unity is fabulous. I love it. I love working with Unity. It was easy. It's simple. People from a low tech perspective, a high tech perspective can get into it and it feels like a walkie. But is there any other way, as DJ asked, that other people have had experiences that they enjoyed?
Let me expand that out. So just any type of communication behind the scenes, how are you communicating with other people that are working on the events? If it's not in the live chat or in the event platform itself.
I'm a WhatsApp girl. I do groups in WhatsApp all day. And then we also do Slack channels as well. And Slack channels that are organized by, so Google Sheets for the actual production doc, and then Slack channels that are organized by session. So each producer or engineer would have their own channel thread within the actual channel. So either you're inviting someone into the channel or you're creating your own workspace and then having it there, or creating a group within WhatsApp for me, or Discord is another one because Discord has audio as well. And then you can create rooms within, I like Discord a lot better than Slack, but anyway, so you can create rooms within Discord as well. And you can go audio, video conferencing within, on a flip it a dime within Discord as well as just audio. So anyone else?
Yeah, so it's Joe again. So if it's a larger broadcast style production, so a webinar or something like that, if you bring people into a different environment, say Zoom, and then you're broadcasting it out to wherever, pick your platform, you can return feedback to you as the DJ or anyone else, whatever you need on that return feed, so that the only person who sees it is you. So a lot of this is just about isolating the people who need to see the information. And so in your case, where you don't need audio, you need a visual cue, I would definitely isolate your whole feed from everyone else, so that I could send you not my video back, but a display of information that flashes and does whatever I need to do to tell you what's next.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Only a few seconds left. Jennifer, did I make it?
We're done. I hate to say it though. I could stay in here forever.
Okay, so we're going to have the transcript from everyone. Thanks for mentioning Otter, Sharon. Otter is my friend. I use Otter all day long. I cannot live without it. Wordly, I love Wordly. I love the guys at Wordly. They're fabulous people. Thank you so much, Lisa. Hopefully you all have enjoyed this. I appreciate Liz for having me. I'm happy that I can see people I haven't seen in a long time. Cherie as well. I see you in there as well. And let's go ahead and make more magic with everyone. And
Thank you
help
so
and
much.
support each other as best as we can. All right. You all take care.
Thank you so much. Everybody join in the next session. We appreciate you, Tess. Thank you.
All right.